Hey guys, Anders from Transforming ADHD here. This is where we look at ADHD, ADD, and a number of the other diagnoses around them to figure out how can we transform what is going on inside of us from the inside out so that the behavioral change is easy and just flows right from inside. So we're looking at how to transform ADHD from the inside out. Today in this video, I'll show you a case story with an 8-year-old boy who has anger issues. And we'll look at how I talked to him about this and how he found a way to not go into the anger state. I did it with an 8-year-old, and you can do this with your child, with yourself, with a partner, or whoever. School, so he would have problems in the schoolyard where he would get bullied and get into fights. So the kids around him knew that he was easy to trigger, so they would trigger him in any way they could, and they'd see him explode and they'd have a fun time with that, and basically they couldn't help that because it was a blast. For him it was being bullied, and for him it just triggered all the things that he didn't know how to manage. So that meant, of course, that socially he didn't have a good time. He did have some good friends, but a lot of people in school was a little bit afraid of him, and there was a hardcore group that actually thought he was great fun to bully. This came all these emotions that really didn't help him much. And it's really bad for the learning environment for a kid like that, like the inner learning environment, to be pumped up on anger and adrenaline and whatnot when you then have to go back to class, sit still, relax, learn, and enjoy. So things weren't looking so good for him, and he was affected by this in school, according to his teachers. So what I did with him was to talk about what was happening from before he got bullied and until after he got out of his anger state. So oftentimes when we look at a kid that has anger issues, we look at the anger, we look at the explosion, we look at the behavior. But what we forget in this process is that there's a lot of things that lead up to it. And I'll just show you on a graph here. And if you look at that, you'll see that the explosion is all the way out here. And that's interesting because that's where we normally look for it. And I drew this with the kid to see there's stuff leading up to this. And for different people, this might be 2 seconds, and for other people, this might be several days. For him, it was a matter of seconds, half minutes, where they started bullying him, and he went through a series of emotions. So you can imagine the standard template would be to be irritated, to be frustrated, to be angered, and then to explode. So I asked the kid, whereabouts? So I drew this for him, and we kind of talked about it, and he recognized it, certainly. And then I asked him, whereabouts on this graph can you no longer hold in the anger? Like, when is it too late to stop this? And he was like, probably around here. So this would be where, after this, he has got to explode. Unless we work directly with the anger, which I'll show you in a different video. Unless we work directly with the anger, we need to look at what comes before this. And this is what most people do wrong, because they want the child. When we say, if you get angry, you want to count to 10. Now, I don't know anybody who ever tried this and succeeded, because when you get angry, you're really pointing at this very top point. And when you're angry like that, you cognitively don't have access to numbers. You're certainly not going to start counting backwards from 10, by then you just want to explode because that's what you're good at when you're in that state. So we need to look at what has to happen before it's too late for him to get out of this situation. And when I told him this, we talked about this, he was really fast in saying, all right, well, this feeling of frustration, I know that one, because I get all like, ah. And so he could identify that feeling, and from this day on, he would use that emotion to trigger him to leave the situation. So instead of staying in this situation and get all riled up and explode, he would leave the situation at a point in time, emotional point in time, when he could actually leave. So later, he said, he wouldn't be able to leave. He'd stay there to start discussing or figure out a way to make them stop bullying. But already by here, he would be able to get out of the situation and not worry about those bully kids anymore. So I hope that makes sense to you. Inside of the kid on this graph, and then so that would be the thoughts and the emotions that built up inside of him, and then have the boy figure out like when would be a good time to change what had to be going on there. And he was quick to identify that was the point, and that's what he wanted to do there. And then obviously he had to go out in real life and test it. What you want to do then is come back. If it works, congratulate him, have a party, whatever. If it doesn't work, bring up the sketch again and see how has it changed. Have him draw it if possible. And then from there on, just build and build and build upon that understanding of him being able to change his ways by recognizing what is going on before. This process is called modeling. And if you take one of my parenting courses at transformingadhd.com, you'll get very detailed insight into this process, and I'll help you through the different aspects of this. For now, go home and draw that drawing with your child and talk about what's going on. It's going to be life-changing for you and your child. Situations, and he would immediately, when there was any kind of attention around him in a negative way, he would notice the frustration and get out of the situation any way he could. His parents even talked to the teachers about this, and they were able to help him identify these situations, and they were able to kind of help him get screened at the right time in school. The child in order to help him change anything. If you just told him, if his parents had just told him, when you get frustrated, you need to leave the place, you need to leave, he wouldn't have been able to consciously do that because he didn't know what was going on in his automated subconscious processes. But talking about it, bringing it up, and having him explain all these steps made it very clear to him what was going on. If you're a parent to a differently wired child, head over to Transforming ADHD and I'll make sure to give you resources and tools, all of it for free, that you can use to transform your parenting and to transform your child's problems from the inside out. There should be a link on the video, right on the video here. You'll see this superhero kids right there. Click that to go to Transforming ADHD. There should be a video playing up above me with the channel called, or the playlist, where you can get a lot more videos that you could plow through and get more insights into your child. Also, if you want to subscribe, you can do that right on the button here. Also, if you like the video, please do go ahead and click the like button. It'll help a lot more parents get to see the video.